Hello, everybody, and welcome to the quest for the best director podcast, round 2. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's actually like round 1.5. But anyways, I'm your host, Matthew Moore. Joining me is a guy who, from my understanding, hasn't lost any of his children yet. Is that fair to say? Caleb Ferguson?
Yeah, not yet. I think I'm gonna make you and Derek fight though later, because you're kind of like my children.
That is true.
So if you guys just want to have a street brawl like after the podcast, I'm down.
Well, the thing is, Caleb, if I don't win, my dad's gonna beat you up, so
Oh, rip.
get ready. And next is a guy who, like, honestly, when I'm with him, I'm that's the only time where I really found perfect happiness. Derek Brzezinski. Derek, how you doing?
That's a lot to live up to.
Well,
I'm pretty shitty. The weather here is really shitty.
really? It's snowing here.
Well, I wish it was snowing. That'd be nice. It's like shitty misting because it's too not cold enough to actually snow. So it's just like misting, so it gets on my glasses no matter what I cover myself with.
That is actually the worst. I like rain, and I like the cold, but I hate cold rain.
Yeah.
I really hate, because you just get so cold and so wet, and it's actually the worst.
I hate cold wind. Like I love it when it's cold, but the air is still. But as soon as that starts blowing around,
Oh, that's my
I
favorite.
kind of like wind. Yeah, I'm
that's
team
my-
wind.
Yeah, dude, I love the feel of it because it feels like, I don't know, I'm indefinite. Like I'm almost infinite, just like the wind cutting through me.
But the issue with rain is it just never goes away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you go inside and you're still wet, and like, oh, this is. Aw. But this is the quest for the best director podcast. Each week we pit 2 directors against each other. This is kind of the wild card round, or round 1.5, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna look at these directors' 6th best movies. We have Charlie Chaplin's The Kid versus Roberto Rossellini's Flowers of St. Francis. 2 very different movies.
oh,
I would go to
completely.
say.
Yeah, I think that'd be very fair to say.
Sometimes you get lucky and there actually have like these weird similarities. This was not one of those weeks.
Although I actually, this might be a kind of a hot take, but I thought this was perhaps because of that some of the most closely matched movies we've had in a while.
I totally agree. Caleb, you stole my take out from under me, but I was gonna say this might be like, and I've had I'm usually like my opinions are pretty live. Like I'll change my minds. Like I remember in the Streets of Shame versus Cries and Whispers, I came in there thinking I was gonna go for Cries and Whispers, ended up going for Streets of Shame after Derek really talked me into it.
Amazing movie.
They're both great movies, but this week, like I am maybe like the most torn I've ever been. Like I have no idea which one I'm voting for. I'm
Really?
really hoping we can discuss. Yeah.
All right, let's go in with a clear mind.
Yes. So we're gonna talk about each movie, and at the end we're gonna vote on a couple categories, but most importantly, the best film and whatever director's film that is. We'll move on in our bracket. There's like one more PSA I really wanted to give, but I cannot remember. So let's just start talking about it. Do you guys want to talk about The Kid first?
No, let's do Rosselini. Let's start with the
Okay, Flowers of St. Francis first.
Flower
Now-
Boy.
Here's a fun factoid, which might have been my other PSA. Do you guys realize I caught this because Derek, who was saying that I have terrible peripheral vision, and he's a peripheral vision god. Derek, I'm gonna test you on your peripheral vision, okay?
Yeah, I think
Who co-wrote this movie?
Federico Fellini.
Yes. Oh my
Nani?
God.
Really? What?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It is really cool. So he wrote this with Rosselini.
Did you also catch this? Renzo Rossellini composed the score for this,
I did catch that. Yeah.
and he also composed the film score for The Children Are Watching Us.
Oh, I did not know that though. I did see another Rosselini, and I was wondering if they were related, or I was wondering if maybe they just put Roberto's name in a weird, folder differently. But I did see that there was a Renzo there. Yeah, that's interesting. Children are watching us. Who would have known?
Dude,
I
that makes
think-
total sense that Federico Fellini co-directed this movie or co-wrote it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because this movie was a fuck ton better than Stromboli.
Well, I mean, okay, I think Rosselini's also like not his best movie or whatever. I think Stromboli might have been a bit more popular due to its due to mint in pop culture, right? It's the first Hepburn Rossellini that was big news at the time. The big scandal was Rossellini Hepburn.
Or you mean Bergman?
Oh, Bergman. Yeah, sorry, Katharine Hepburn. You would never. You
And
had
also
doucher guys to be dating at the
the
time.
Angelo Rizzoli is the producer of this, and guess what? He also produced.
Knights of Cabiria or Stromboli, one of the two.
No, 8 1/2 and La Dolce Vita.
Oh, okay. So this is this is Fellini's big producer. So this movie was destined for greatness, and I would say it lived up to it.
Yeah, that is so. It's very interesting to me that Stromboli ended up getting like a higher ranking than this in the list that you pulled all these from.
I really
Like,
do.
I agree that I think your analysis was good, but it's still interesting to me.
Can we get into
Yeah.
why we thought this was good?
Do you not think it's good?
I do not. Well, I don't think it's not good. I shouldn't rephrase that. I think it has flaws.
Okay,
think
well,
it is
how about you
good.
hit us with the flaws first, and then
No.
Caleb and I can kind of
I wanna
counteract
see-
with the positives.
I need
Okay.
to see what y'all think about this, because
So
maybe
you
I
can
don't.
tailor it.
No, so I can see like maybe I'm missing some good things about this that'll counteract its flaws.
So
Wait, so
I
what's
actually,
your take on if this movie is better than Stromboli or not?
Oh yeah, this is definitely way better. Way
Yeah.
better than Stromboli.
If Derek was gonna hit us with this is worse than Stromboli, I was just gonna like
No,
remove it from
there's
the podcast.
there's like literally
Or
no
Burning
way that this
Josiah.
movie is worse than Stromboli.
Yeah, no. So what I love with this movie is first thing, the characters, right? We had some. I think one thing we complained about with Stromboli is that we had some characters. We had one character really that we actually got anything out of, like content wise, who wasn't completely static, and that character was not the most likable, and neither was really anyone in that movie. In this movie, it's the opposite, where I liked every character, right? And even if I didn't necessarily like the character, like for instance, like all of the what's the tyrant's name again?
Oh, Nikolai or something like that.
Nikolai, yeah. Nikolai and all these guys.
Nicolaio.
Nicolaio. Yeah, you're right. There's like a bunch of vowels on the end there. Nicolaio. Even if I didn't like him, like I really enjoyed watching him, right?
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
We'll have to talk about that. And I also thought, honestly, like this movie is such a bizarre mix of drama and comedy, like in a really good way.
Yes,
Bizarre in a
I
good
love
way.
it.
Where you were really just like you didn't know what you're gonna expect because it's kind of these vignettes, right? Where you have like this is a story where of how we they Giovanni, or this is where how do you say his name? Ginsecco?
Ginopro.
Ginopro. That's right. Yeah, I don't know why I said Ginsecco. I literally have it written down like multiple times here. Ginopro. This is where Ginopro, convinces the guy to end the war or whatever. And like, even then though, you're not sure like, okay, which way is this going, right?
Mhm.
Like, and it's so great how like it's not that because I think some of them it's like okay, well, it's like you would expect it's not like it's a mix. Like, each one itself is a mix between drama and comedy. Like most of the vignettes really go one way or the other, but like it doesn't feel unnatural at all.
Yeah.
Strength number one. Now, I think even more importantly, some of like the cinematographic motifs and stuff like that, or like I guess not cinematographic. Some of like the motifs in terms of like how it was shot and how it was edited were really, really good.
Like what do you mean? Give an example.
For example, they'll always show where people are going. Okay? So anytime characters are going to a place, they will show them completely walking off. Every single time. Even if we don't actually see that place. I think the most obvious one that like whatever reason is popping out to my mind is like for instance right before that other saint comes whose name starts
St.
with
Clair.
St. Clair, yeah.
Very famous.
They're
Wait,
all
the female one?
yeah.
Okay.
Before she comes, they're like, oh, let's all go shave. And you see them all scatter out. It's like this very wide shot of them all scattering out. And it's not most movies they would if they're gonna do that, which most of them wouldn't, they would usually show them like walking off screen and then or shaving. They would do that to, because we're gonna set up for like the fun shaving scene with the boys or something like that. But no, I mean they just come back or whatever. And I think it's really emphasizing that like life's not about the destination. It's not about the material. It's about the journey, right? Which is what all this movie is completely about. Is it's all about the journey, and they are always focusing on movement. Even of course at the very end scene, right, where has them all go separate ways, and it's like this beautiful kind of extended metaphor where at the end they're going separate ways and we have no idea where they're going, but it doesn't matter because it's about the journey. It doesn't really matter where they're going.
Another cinematographic motif that I noticed is that people are like always cut in half, or like their heads were cut
Yes.
off.
I noticed that too. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know. Like we can interpret that in a number of ways. I'm not really sure exactly like how. Like you can maybe, because my gut reaction is when you see something like that, it's that like these characters don't really matter, or at the very least that they're like part of their environment. So I guess like maybe that's the way I take it, is that these people are like living in harmony with their environment or something,
Mhm.
because they are not given any more respect than any other piece of the background. And that was definitely like the vibe I got from this movie, is that these people are very much like living like just living life day to day with the stuff that's around them, you know, that sort of thing. So I guess that's kind of the way I could take it.
Well, that's
You
the
know,
ideology of Saint Francis historically, is to be humble, and that's like
Okay,
that's the whole idea, is like being humble requires you to be like pretty much as low as possible.
that's something we can definitely like talk about in terms of our own interpretations of the movie, is how much like we knew about this guy like as a historical figure before watching it, because I knew zero. I know
yeah,
nothing about this guy.
Well,
I'm with Caleb.
I was raised Catholic, so Saint
Ah,
Francis is kind of a big deal.
I
well, I'm
see.
sure he is.
So
Wait.
does it from like
Okay,
I'm curious from a Catholic's point of view, like uh would this like very like humorous or almost like ironic representation be like considered like disrespectful at all to like a hardcore Catholic person?
I mean, not really, because the idea is like Saint Francis is never like, at least in this, it seems done in a humorous light. Like
hmm
Mhm.
he's very pious to the extreme, and like he's always shown like extremely pious. Never shown any like dark sides or making light of what he's doing. So, I don't think so.
But he does have like a lighter side to him, right? Which I did really enjoy them showing that. Like sometimes they're joking around, or it's not like Giovanni, for instance. Like I mean, obviously they take him seriously and treat him like a human being, but like they understand that sometimes his behavior is funny, and they kind of laugh along with us. I think that makes it feel better, and it shows that like these people, these extremely pious people, can have fun, can still enjoy life without like necessarily like only out of reverence,
Yeah,
right?
speaking of like motifs and in relation to that, like how St. Francis would kind of do that thing where he would just like put his head in his hand and kind of drag his hand
hmm
down his face. That was pretty funny.
And then one more thing I love about this movie is back to the kind of structure of it, right? And I think structure is one thing that's going to I'm really going to emphasize in both of these movies because I thought both of them were structured extremely well. But I think it's really easy to go wrong with the vignettes, right? In
Hmm.
fact, I literally can't think of a vignette movie. I can think of a few vignette movies in general, but literally none that I like. Or like it's like to this degree. Can you guys?
I
Yeah, I
cannot.
don't. You could sort of consider Two or Three Things I Know About Her a vignette movie,
Yeah,
at
but
least in the way that it's like
it's
separated
more
by
like a
those.
video essay. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
I agree.
with natural separation. Yeah, so I wouldn't quite see the same. Yeah, I'm trying to even think of like vignette movies. Like none are popping to mind, and I think it's because it's very hard to do.
But so I got another question about like the historical figure St. Francis. Are these stories that they're telling? Are these like known stories or are these inventions?
Pretty
Does
sure these
anybody
are
know?
like known stories. Like,
Okay.
well, it's kind of like a combination, because like apparently this is like based on like a book about Saint
Mhm.
Francis, or technically two from like the 13th century, and this guy's from like or the 14th, and he's from the 13th, so it's like kind of like pretty much as close as possible, and of course with all things like relating like saints and whatnot, there's likely to be some exaggeration, but this movie doesn't have really any of that. So I think we
That's
can
a bit of exaggeration.
not like any, but definitely less than like fucking angels
Yeah.
coming down and like destroying cities
Oh yeah,
and
for
shit.
sure. But I just don't think there's like any, jump rope. Probably wasn't like actually getting jump roped. Wasn't actually even jump rope and stuff. But fishing up on the structure, and the reason this one functions so good is because they close everything at first thing. Everything relates back to these greater themes we're talking about, right? And then kind of these characters, but also they close each story out in these very satisfying ways, both like narratively, but also like stylistically. The one that stands out the most to me is when he meets the leper, which is like a super short bit, smack dab in the middle of the movie, where Saint Francis is praying and he sees this leper. And I've never, but there's been very few times I've been so intrigued by like a set of shots where it's a leper is walking off in the distance, and this beautiful shot where the leper is like basically walking away from Saint Francis. And it's like the horizon's perfect, so it really kind of allows you to see like the expanse of the world the leper is walking into, but also like from, right? And like how all he can do is just wander this world, and how he doesn't have the opportunities that Francis does, and all this like what you set in. When you get back to Francis, is the same thing. He's crying and saying, "God, oh God," and then it's like, argue a very dark twist. It pans up to a completely black sky. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is he even saying here? Like, I mean, I think you can debate what Rossellini's trying to say there, but like, I love that series of shots, and stuff like that where he's just always ending these things like these like interesting ways that kind of leave you thinking is great. Or like when he's meeting with St. Clair and like it ends in this really like this shaky shot where he's like not using a steady camera of like them all like talking or whatever, and like something that almost looks like the Divinity or something like that. I think it's amazing. He's just always ending these things like in these very satisfying manners, but like that also doesn't feel like this is the end, right? 'Cause sometimes I think people like when you have like a too grandiose of an ending shot, it feels like, okay, why is the movie continuing then? You know, that never happens. Okay, Derek, what are your issues?
I was just gonna say real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Like, it's kind of interesting. How you said like he was really close to nature and whatnot and stuff like that, Caleb. Because like that's the whole like that's a big thing for Saint Francis, is that he like loves like all of God's creatures and believes like humans should be like as creatures themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe I got. I think like I don't know, we always like hear these like stories about like like old school Christian living, like giving everything up and all that sort of stuff. But this movie was actually pretty eye-opening to me in terms of actually like, oh, like this is what it looked like when people like actually live like Jesus did, or at least some degree close to it.
And
like
just their
literally
humility,
giving up
right?
all your possessions. Yeah, like that was really cool, and like it sort of like definitely gave me a new perspective on like Christian teachings. I'm not like a Christian or anything, but like I kind of see like how the authors of Christian works, like where they were coming from a lot more. So pretty interesting from that perspective.
And just like, yeah, the humility across all of these characters is like super believable humility where they're just like, we are never grateful enough. You know what I mean? And like we're just striving to be grateful. And this is like all just us trying to like actually like feel some sort of gratitude to this person who like created us and saved us.
Yeah, this movie has like actually so much going for it because it has like all of these like really like moving stuff, like you talked about the leper and all of these stuff about humility and who this guy was and what he stood for. And then it also has like this really like feel good aspect to it where it's like literally just like a dozen or so bros just like hanging out in the woods and just like goofing off and having a good time and dancing and singing and doing their stuff and just kind of like being buddies. And there's also like some literally hilarious moments. Like, dude, when he's chasing that pig through the brush, like God wants you to give me your foot, dude. Come here. And he's like chasing her. That actually like reminded me of something out of like I don't know, like Always Sunny or some other like sitcom where like really dang shit happens.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that same thing, dude. Like some moments literally just feel like a sitcom. Like there should be like a TV show about these guys.
For real.
Like Giovanni always cracks me up, and he's just like always so true to character. And the gag like should get old of him just like basically repeating everything everyone's saying,
Mm.
but, like it never does. Or when he's like, he just threw Mr. Pig on the ground.
Dude, and then that one guy who just like always shows up without clothes on.
Yeah, that's the same guy. That's Ginepro. Ginopro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I got confused. Well, anyways, that gag cracks me up where he's always just like, he lost his cloak again.
Like the first time, I'm like, this is weird. And then, like the time, I'm like, Ginopro, come on.
Also,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, just
the guy who
Also-
like mimes what Saint Francis does, the old man, because he
Wait,
wants,
which guy's that?
he's like the old man that they pick up, and he's like, I want to be
Giovanni.
like,
Yeah.
I want to be like Saint Francis, or I like Francis. Like, well, come with us. And then it's like, I want to be, and just mimes him the whole time he's talking to him, and he's like,
Yeah.
I want to be like Francis. Oh, I'm Francis. Thank you. I want to be like you. And he hugs him and is like, come on in.
Yeah, this
Giovanni
guy's like
is
really hitch on a lot of
amazing.
levels.
And then like we're talking about, I mean, the scene where he's going to Nicolayo,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that literally feels like a Monty Python skit or something.
Yes, I was gonna say that the fucking armor that Nikolai is in, and the entire time he's like, "Get me on my armor!"
It's
And they have him on
suspended, like, it's just completely useless armor. And like, just one thing I love in movies is me and Derek were kind of talking about this earlier, but like the opposite was like when you have a static character, I feel like you should really just go all the way with them and not try to like make them complex. You know what I mean? Like me and Derek were talking earlier about this, or they're talking about Captain America. Like sometimes like they try to make his goodness complex and it's just like stupid because it's just like, okay, he's never ever going to like actually wave at the end of the day. So just, why are you doing this? I love how like they just really run with these like, you know, like like caveman like barbarians. They just completely run with it. It's like to the point where like they're jump roping Ginopro.
They're like draining blood into a cup to like see who has the more like more blood.
And then like I love like there's like the conflict is so like genius because it's so him, you know, where it's like son, you know, did you come here to kill me? He's like, oh, I would have done way worse than kill you if my Lord God wasn't here. And he's like, oh, but were you coming here to kill me? Like, Ginopro can't like ever give himself any credit. So he's just constantly like reaffirming the fact that like he's a terrible person.
Yeah, so
Like,
Derek,
not-
I'm interested to hear your
critiques,
Uh,
yeah, 'cause I'm very curious as well.
Primarily, it just a lot of the characters were poorly acted in my opinion, but
I agree
Like
with
who?
that.
it's
Wait, like who?
like Saint Francis was all right, and then Ginepro was kind of stilted a lot of the times, especially how he delivered his dialogue. Giovanni was funny because of how stilted he was, so that was kind of fine. And then,
He's so great. Giovanni was a good. Don't criticize Giovanni's acting, Derek. It was amazing.
Nikolai was also kind of funny because he just like scrunched of his face a bunch and then like unscrunched
Yeah.
it and just like "Meh."
He looks so weird.
So it's kind of like it's necessary for him to be bad at acting, so it's kind of like it worked.
Mhm.
St. Clair was
Like I said, Monty Python on that one.
yeah,
right?
St. Clair was just kind of like boring because she was just like hee hee
Yeah, she's-
and like "Meh." And then the other brothers were kind of like just I don't know, difficult to distinguish because of how bland they were, and like which I guess is kind of the point is like if you're in the priesthood
Yeah.
you're supposed to be bland, but it definitely doesn't lend itself to being an interesting characters.
I disagree because I think we have enough characters that we like do care about, right? That it doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, as long as you have a few that you can get invested in. I think like Giovanni and Ginopro are consistent characters that we get a lot of. Obviously, Francis.
But I
We
think
get.
you're talking about like acting, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about acting.
Oh,
But,
okay, sure.
Acting, and then like my point is like because of that, a lot of the early scenes until we get to like the funny stuff with like Ginopro cutting off a pig's foot, kind of boring pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. The beginning is the weakest part of the movie for
Yeah,
sure.
so,
Yep.
so
Agreed.
that's probably those are my biggest flaws, and then just like nitpicking at this point is just I feel like the meeting with Saint Clair is pretty unnecessary. It's obviously important as like a historical thing to like make the audience aware that Saint Francis and Saint Clair work together in the same like Francis Minor and whatnot, yada yada yada. But I think for the story and like what it's trying to do, it's pretty pointless.
Wait, no, I disagree.
It was aesthetically like very satisfying.
But also just like I don't know. Would you guys? Okay, I'm actually curious your interpretation of the scene before I give you guys mine. Like, what do you guys think the point of the scene was? You think it was actually pointless, Dirk?
Yeah, I think it's actually pointless to be honest. Maybe like not entirely, but enough so that it was a waste of time.
I thought that like, I mean, first thing, I think there's like definitely like some tension there between them. Like, not I don't say sexual because I think it's like kind of blasphemous. Like almost like some romantic tension there between them. And it's like this is something that he'll never be able to have, and this is something that she'll never be able to have because of the life they live. I think that is really important to establish. Because the whole movie, we don't ever really get to see what Francis is giving up. And like, I think this is what he's giving up. You know what I mean? Just like
I
being
mean,
with Claire and being like a normal person, quote
sure,
unquote.
it's nice seeing what he's giving up, but realistically, the idea of a priesthood is literally, especially at this time, literally giving up everything. That's kind of like already established in his character.
Sure, but I think like a lot of those things, like you can understand because like they're like inherently like not bad, but you know what I mean. Like they're inherently worldly and stuff, right? Like you know, material possessions and whatnot. I mean, obviously, like the house and situation can probably be better for them, and that's something we can sympathize with. And something that's is emphasized in like a really important way. But I think like love is something that's like it's a different kind of sacrifice that I don't think we don't necessarily think about in the same way. And that's why I found that important. And that's why like it's like the shaky cam at the end. I think does such a great job because it's like this is unstable and something that he can't have, and this is him wavering. Is how I interpreted that.
So I thought that the scene was really important. Like before, how I kind of talked about how like this gave me like a greater perspective on Christianity and stuff. I think this scene was like pretty much what brought that to a head because like of the way that they talk about like the reverence which was they talk about her and like how they even have reverence for like the place where she was I don't know what the word they use where she was confirmed or some sort of like ceremony thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
No, she like took her vows. This is where she took her vows. So they were like speaking in hushed tones about this place where this woman took her vows. And like this woman's like a human. She's not even like a deity to them. She's a human that took her vows here, but because she's so pure and like perfect, she's like ascended and become more than a human. And so that was like another kind of vibe of this movie to me is that like Saint Francis and then also like Saint Clair probably to like even a higher degree, maybe just because we see less of her, has basically like ascended humanity to become like something way greater, which I think is like definitely the point of sainthood and probably is something that was intentional in this movie.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, Caleb. And also just like this is what they get excited about, you know what I mean? I think it's really important to see your characters like actually doing something that, like genuinely makes them happy in this way that's like not meta at all, but just like them coming and them getting to like host her and seeing all our characters so happy and so excited, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just like the reverence with which they talk about her was like really like aesthetically pleasing and astounding to me. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was just me nitpicking. Personally, I didn't get anything from that scene, but if you did, I think
And also,
I
yeah,
definitely
I think there's definitely like a suggested romance element of it, right? Where like it definitely does like sort of frame like the nativity, you know,
ah
where like they're sitting all around and like it's against this kind of like barn looking thing, right? Or like this is kind of like outside-ish, inside-ish area, and it's the two people were both looking at each other, like Mary and Joseph. I don't know what who'd be the proverbial Jesus in the situation because it's like you can also argue that Francis is like sort of like a Jesus Christ like figure, but yeah, I think definitely there's like some sort of like suggested romance, and of course like she's so pure, right? She's almost like Virgin Mary's level of pure.
mhm. I really agree with Derek though that I thought the actor who played the main character Saint Francis was like weak for
yeah.
an actor playing a main character. Like he really didn't do anything. Like no one in this movie did anything astounding, and I think that there were a few moments where it felt a little stiff or weak. Um,
Yeah.
Sure.
so yeah, I think that's definitely a valid criticism.
Especially, I don't know, the first half was I don't know. Until there was something like actually funny to draw my attention back, I was kind of on autopilot, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I think first half's a bit
Not
extreme.
first half, but like
First like 15, 20
First,
minutes. Yeah.
third, maybe.
yeah, the first three vignettes.
Yeah. First two vignettes. Yeah. Sure. I think like once Giovanni comes is when I really start to enjoy it.
Yeah,
Whenever
pretty
that
much.
is, like 20 minutes in or something. Um. But yeah. What else do we have to say about the movie, guys? Music. What do you think of the music?
Oh, that the scene when they're spinning and they're basically like determine where they're gonna go. That was like one of the first times that like music like really kicks in, and it was super effective. And I was like, that was powerful, dude. And then music kicks in, and it's like a really beautiful moment because they're all kind of gonna go out and influence the world, but it's also really sad because you have to basically say goodbye to like this group of bros that you've been like feeling like one of for a while. So a lot of bittersweet stuff going on with that.
I also think the music in the scene with St. Clair is really good too, with like the violins and stuff, like the really soft violins, and that also feels kind of shaky. That scene. I think that scene's really good. I disagree with Derek on that one. Yeah, there's so many cool shots in this movie. There's the shot of, I love this shot where Giovanni and Francis are praying, and like Giovanni like obviously can't pray as fast as him because he's like old and his voice is just like more shaky. They have this cross dividing them, but like it's so great because it's like the cross is connecting like the sinners to the saints or whatever. Like this is what connects you. It's like Jesus is like, or this is what connects you to like heavenly and sainthood is like the cross and like Jesus dying. I thought that was really good as well. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah, kind of interesting also because Saint Francis is the second person in like biblical history or whatnot to have Jesus' stigmata after
oh
Saint Paul.
really?
Wait, what does that mean?
That means he's like basically carrying like the Passion of Christ, like the second person to do that, which is like a big deal.
Wait, what's the Passion of Christ?
Like
That's
his,
an object?
no, it's like his suffering. Like stigmata are like holes through your hand where, and it would be where like Christ was like hung on the cross through his hands.
Wait, so is this a physical thing or is this
Yeah,
a
this is like a
symbolic
physical
thing?
thing. Like the idea is like it's a physical thing with you get actual holes in your hand.
Oh, so this guy like physically had holes punched in his hands.
Yeah, like the idea is like in biblical like terms, like angels, Sephirus angels come down and like put stigmata in your hands because you're so like pious and whatnot,
I see.
and like you carry like the literal like basically suffering of Christ.
Cool. Or
So basically, this guy's a big deal like faith wise.
I think you get that right
So when you see
from the
like
movie.
him with like a cross, it's like him like being compared to Jesus.
Another beautiful shot is when they're trying to, and to be fair, being a bit annoying, but I don't know. I'm sure they know better. We're trying to kind of talk to the guy when it's like snowing outside, and he's like,
Oh yeah,
you know, he gets like very upset and kicks them out. That shot of them getting kicked out, like while it's snowing, and like give like this circular building in the background, is just so beautiful.
yeah.
also the scene with the at the military camp or whatnot was pretty aesthetic looking.
Yeah,
It was very riotous.
and I think, yeah, I mean, I think definitely for me the biggest weakness is specifically Jeanette Bros acting.
Yeah,
Everyone else I was pretty much fine with for one reason or the other, but like I think like him with the kids that felt weird,
yeah. I don't know.
you know?
Once I like started looking at his acting and like the other characters, it was just like kind of annoying. But
And like I feel like him with why do I always forget his name? Nicolao.
yeah,
That especially like when they're in the tent together, that felt a bit weird and like slightly unconvincing. And I
yeah,
don't think that's from Nicolao's part. I think he's actually doing a good job there.
yeah. He was doing some interesting things at least. Maybe not super effectively, but he was at least doing something. I didn't feel like Ginevra was really
Yeah,
achieving anything.
responding. Yeah. But other than Ginepper's acting, that's really the only critique I can make of the movie.
But I actually thought the St. Francis's acting was the weakest,
Yeah,
personally.
I would say St. Francis was weaker just because of how like he didn't really seem like to hit his rhythm or like any rhythm. He kind of just like was kind of either at least too far in or too far out on like emotional levels. Like
I never minded it. I don't know, but I respect that you guys do. Anything else we want to talk about here, or are we ready to move on to the kid?
move on to the kid then.
Okay, the kid. I have like a terrible setup here because like.
I have a shit ton on the kid.
Okay, go for it, Derek.
My usual.
Well, actually, let me
tactics
set up
for-
what the kid is because
Yeah.
I didn't set up. Was it the kid? It's a old ass movie. Is it 1920? 1921.
1921. Good year.
1921. Great year. And it's a Charlie Chaplin film where basically this woman. Okay, I was actually. She leaves her kid on a car in a
Oh,
car.
that whole scene was hilarious. Okay, yeah, he leaves the kid on the car, and then the guys get in the car.
Steal her car. Yeah.
No, it's not
And
her
then they-
car. It's not her car.
Oh, it's someone. Yeah, sorry. She's abandoning the kid in the car.
Yeah, she's abandoning the kid
So
in
no
the car.
steals the car. And they abandon the kid on a street. And Charlie Chaplin, who's playing the tramp, finds the kid. And he raises the kid as his own. They live a humble life, but like a good one. They're both very happy. And then eventually, it gets discovered that the kid does not belong to Charlie Chaplin, and the kid gets I don't know, like I don't know. The government takes the kid from Charlie Chaplin.
Basically, social workers come and
yeah, like
remove
the
them.
1920s equivalent of social workers. Yeah, I don't know if they're actually called social workers, but same idea at least.
Yeah,
and
pretty much the same idea.
And because he's also like an unfit parent, obviously, because like their house is like actually terrible.
Yeah.
And then, but also like through this, his kid's original mom is also just called the woman.
Yeah, literally no one has names, which is
no one
great.
has names. Yeah, that's just like a Charlie Chaplinism though. That happens a lot in these movies, I think. But
Wait, we weren't supposed to watch Disney's 2000 movie, The Kid, starring Bruce Willis?
Sorry, Caleb, we were not.
Oh.
Oh, this has got a lot less even. No, but she ends up finding the kid again. She reunites him with Chaplin. That presumably the three, are gonna work out some sort of arrangement going in the future, but we don't really know. Okay, Derek, what'd you like about the kid so much?
I don't know if this swings your vote or not, but this guy's the original Uncle Fester from the Addams Family, the kid.
Dang.
That literally does not swing my vote at all, so you're good.
But yeah, I don't know. Straight from the beginning, I was just like hooked because of the music. It was like sad and like this very striking woman with this very striking outfit and makeup, was just like sad looking and whatnot. It was like, oh, like, oh no, baby. Like, oh, look at the baby. And then she throws it in the car. It's like, oh no. And it's like all of a sudden these fucking wacky ass robbers come, take the car. And then it's just like the whole sequence. It goes from the car to this alley, and he sets up the alley very well because in the way the car comes in very well. So it's like the logic of the alleyway you get from the car and where it is in relation to where the house was, and then you see the baby sit in this one alleyway that goes towards Chaplin's house, which we see later from that perspective.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love that a lot. And then Chaplin comes and just like saunters up with these baggy ass pants and clothes, like walking like fucking Mickey Mouse or some shit.
I mean, it's once again, it's all the tramp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. His outfit is always just funny.
Mm.
It adds so much to his character. It's great. And then it also is kind of like his mannerisms too. I don't know how he does it, but even just his mannerisms with how he like gets the cigarette and like puts away his cane's funny. He like hangs it on his arm. It's like so cute. I love that. And then it was also really, and then like sad when like you see the man who's like obviously or I guess it's before this, but the man like who's the I guess father of the child because he has a photo of the woman that we see him looking at. Then he accidentally knocks it into the fire, picks it up, looks at it like fuck it, and throws it in the fire. It's like, oh damn, and he just
Yeah,
like
that was actually really clever if you think about that,
yeah, it's set up
because
so
it's
well.
like because he basically got her pregnant, which like taints her, I guess you could say, in his mind, and like once she's tainted, he like doesn't care about her anymore. Just
Mhm.
like the picture, it's beautiful, but then as soon as it gets a little tattered or tainted, and like real life happens to it, he doesn't care anymore and chucks it in the fire, which is the
Ooh.
same way he treated her as a person.
And he uses like part of the paper to light his pipe.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that part.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. I love anything like that makes sense like that. Any little thing that makes actual sense. Because it's so easy for filmmakers
Yeah.
to like just like, and it works.
I think you're not talking about like the actual like funny moment here though, Derek. The brilliant part of this beginning, where it's a super clever scene set up by Chaplin,
Yeah, I haven't
where
gotten into it yet. Yeah.
yeah, where he finds the baby and he's like, "This is not my baby. What am I gonna do with this baby?" And then someone sees him with the baby, right? Or
No.
yeah, someone sees him with the baby. Yeah, someone walks by and sees him with the baby. He's like, "Oh man, I can't put the baby down now." So he's like, "I'm gonna put it. After I keep holding this baby, what do I do?" And he's like, "I'm gonna put it in this woman's cart or in her. What is she? She's like,
She has a baby already in the stroller, and like she's probably
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the maid for her family, and like she's
So
pushing it.
he gives it to her. She gets mad. Obviously, she makes him take back the baby, and then he's gonna. This is when he's gonna put the baby back, right? And the cop sees him.
Yeah. Or what happens is then he tries to put it down. The cop comes. He's like, hey, I'm not doing anything, and then he like takes it, walks over, and then like turns the corner. Like the old man comes and is like, "Hey, old man, here's I need you to hold this baby real quick while I tie my shoe." And he, like bends down and runs away. It's like the old man like tries to hobble after him, and then eventually catches up. The old man
He goes to
goes
the
around
lady, right?
goes around the corner through the alleyway, back around the other corner to the right, and is like gets to the lady in the stroller. And he puts it in the stroller. The woman comes over, is like, "Why you give me this baby? I just." And then Chaplin ends up coming by, and the police officer's right behind him, and he has like,
Yeah,
has to.
it's completely loops around, right? You get
Yeah.
a great finale where every character gets like a satisfying ending within this scene. It's really clever.
Yeah, and you understand where like everyone walked away, where they went, and I love it. And then also when he's like, "Fuck, I gotta keep the baby," and he sits down on the curb. And he looks down, and there's a sewer on the right. He lifts up the grate and like looks at the baby. He's like, "Should I throw it in there?" Like, nah, fuck it. Put the back down.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin definitely like carries every movie that he's in with just like his phenomenal mannerisms. Like he really feels like he kind of pops off the screen almost.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know how he does it, but it's like he's just so good that it just kind of overshadows everyone else. It's,
To be fair, he's also like directing movies.
yeah.
So he should be. And I also think part of that's a good thing. Like the people he's acting with. Like I did not think the woman was a very good actress at all.
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't think she's good at all.
I wouldn't say she's like good, but I wouldn't say she's bad. Definitely not
She's
bad.
bad.
I would not say she's bad.
I mean, I won't. Okay, for the level of film we're talking about, like she is to me the equivalent of like the bad actors in like Flowers Saint Francis. Like she is like has no good scenes, and I do not understand her character. Like
You don't
I do not
understand
think
her
she's a good-
character?
I mean, like I watched. This is the second time watching the movie. I understand her character, but I don't like think she's like very convincing at all. Of selling like this is who she is.
Well, I think it's kind of like she's I don't know if you had to be like convinced of who she is so much as like understand what she's doing. Like,
Yeah, but we understand that because they literally say. I mean, I don't think like.
well, they don't
that's,
literally
like,
say
They know. They literally just tell you like.
they
And now she wants a baby, and she is sad about it. Like, don't they like actually say that?
no,
Like, in the
they
movie?
don't. No,
Yeah,
they
like-
say the caption is her only sin is motherhood, and then it cuts to her, and she like then she puts the baby in the car, and that's how everything starts.
No, I mean later. I meant like right before that scene where like there's like the random little kid who's like not the kid, but the other random little kid who's like at the park or whatever, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, look at the baby." Like I think that's before that's literally captioned
Oh, that scene.
like she wants a she's like changed her ways or whatever, and she feels I don't know.
Well, I don't.
I
I
don't
don't.
want
It
like
wasn't like it changed her ways. It was like, uh, changed her mind or something, and then like she went and tried to find the kid.
yeah. I just feel like I don't know, and then also just I don't want to harp on her too much, but just like literally the only time like she ever showed like emotion that was convincing is like these like really awkward like cut tos where it's just like we don't see her and now all of a sudden we see her and she's making an emotional face, which is like usually not the sign of the best acting. Like a couple times where she does have to like have a dynamic emotion, it does like not
I
go
think
well.
she was
I
pretty alright in like the scene with the like kids in like the poor neighborhood. I don't
I
think she was like,
guess I don't know. I thought she was not good. Anyways,
but
let's
yeah.
move on though.
But the funny thing is
Not
like there's also just like a bunch of other comedic characters in the story, so it's kind of like
sure.
sure like the one like dramatic foil is maybe like bad. I wouldn't say bad, but maybe she's bad. Uh, but like these other characters for like driving the narrative are like really good and like effective. Like for example, uh, let me see, should I go? Should I skip ahead? I'm gonna skip ahead a bit. Okay, when he's like, um, he gets the kid to break the windows, and then he goes up, and it's like the second woman. He goes and he tries to. He's like putting up the window, and she's like coming over, like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "I put this here, I put this here," and he puts his arm around her waist, and she's like, takes it off, and is like, "What are you doing?" Is like, and he like leans against her arm on like the wall, and is like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, you put your arm around my shoulder, you woman!" And then it's like, it's like gets fake upset. I thought that was hilarious.
Asing was cute. And then of course you have like the husband coming who has his hand
Yeah.
up around Chaplin eventually, and
Oh my god.
Chaplin's like, "Ha ha! Stop it! Stop it!"
And then it's so perfectly cartoonish because it's just like this guy. It's like almost in like Tom and Jerry when like the cat's or like the dog's face or something comes out of, like the darkness to like bite someone. Like the cop's face comes out of the darkness of behind the window. Like
Well, I think like yeah, I actually thought the scene. I'm not as high on the scene as you seem to be, but I do love the ending to the scene where like like the cop officer comes, like you're saying, and him and the kid like walk away. Like the kid like dad, and he's like trying to act like he doesn't know. He's like,
Oh yeah, and he keeps pushing him
really
away.
athletic,
That's funny.
kicking him away. Yeah, he's extremely athletic. Like really, Charlie Chaplin. He's like stronger than you think. Yeah, he's doing like very impressive like nonchalant kicks.
The great thing about this movie to me was that like it always has like a rhythm. Like it always just kind of like keeps the beat, you know, of like the gags. Like it never lets up. It's pretty tight.
And also,
I
that
agree.
chase scene, it's great because it just I don't know, it's the speed
When
of
they're
it
taking
is
the
like,
kid away.
or no, the chase scene right when like after the window scene with the cop like
okay.
chasing him. It's like the pace of it is just right because it's like not so like natural normal speed. It's kind of like sped up, but you can also see like the way they get from the woman's house to where they live is I really like. So he took the time to do that, but he didn't do it like so long that it was like took away from the gag.
I agree. I do think that another like kind of going on to like how tight the movie is. I think like it is really well written in terms of like the B plot is like really I don't like B plots that are like completely unrelated from the A plot, you know?
Mhm.
But like in this case the B plot's just like it's so obviously like hand in hand where it's like the woman actually struggles to like, not be what is his life like as like a, abandoning her child, and then like her with the ex-husband, you have that whole scene which like it doesn't feel bad because like this is someone we have to care about and someone we have to have attention from, and since we're giving attention and might as well like have to relate to exactly, it like all of her scenes like feel efficient, but it's still given enough time, but like it doesn't feel bad.
Yeah.
I guess, like,
Another element in through all this is that he uses the music really effectively. Like there's a certain sad music that he plays in the sad moments that like naturally morphs into this comedic like sound, especially at the you can notice this straight away from the beginning. Like he starts out with his very sad like tonal stuff, like And then all of a sudden it's like more like high, like happy stuff. As soon as like Chaplin starts prancing through to the alleyway to see the baby, very like specific music, which I like a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, talking about that the scene where they're taking the kid away and they're like climbing over the rooftops and stuff. That was like really interesting to me because they're doing all of these visual gags just like they were doing the rest of the movie. But because of the music and like the context of the scene, like the music is so like heart wrenching there, and the
Mm.
like the baby's like crying, like little kid is like
Yeah,
crying, and then Chaplin himself is like bawling, but they're still doing all these visual gags, and it's interesting because like it keeps the energy of the movie, but like it's so heart wrenching at the same time. It's really interesting.
yeah, it's because I don't know, it's kind of like he's kind of trained the audience with the music and like what's going on, like with the rhythm and whatnot. That he's like he can do these things at the same time and create like multiple effects at once, which I think is like really incredible, especially in a movie like that's 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
Now I do have a bit of a criticism there, though. I do actually agree with you that, like, yeah, if it was really great, where he, like, you don't really lose momentum there. But then, like, I almost feel like the ending to that scene sort of unsatisfying when he does get the kid back. You know, like obviously it's satisfying
Yeah.
in the moment where you're like, yeah, you got the kid back. But then, like, they have this scene where he's at the hotel, or whatever, and the guy ends up taking the kid, and even if he is sad, it doesn't feel as powerful. I don't know if it's like just how he acts it, or just like I think a lot of it though has to do with the fact that he already lost the kid. You know,
Well, it's
and
not
this
as
is
sad because of the confusion of it. He has like no idea what's going on. Like what
yeah, that's my
and
point.
and
Is like it kind of deprives us of that. You know what I mean?
I
Well,
don't know about that.
I think it deprives us of like this like moment where you really get to see him like be upset that he lost his kid.
Well, also because the whole point of that isn't that he lost the kid. The point of that is that the guy took the kid to his mom. Like the emphasis of that scene is different than the previous one
Mm, wait. What do you mean by that? Clarify. 'Cause
because
I
the
kind of disagree.
emphasis of the first scene is that they're taking the kid away from the tramp. Uh, that's the whole point of that. That's why, and also that scene's great because the logic of it is that he is hilarious. He like running over the rooftops to like desperately save the kid, but it's like so sad at the same time. And like jumps in, like fights the dudes, like bam, knocks him out. Like yay! And then but that the emphasis of that scene is like entirely different. It's like the kid is getting taken away from the tramp. Not that he's going to his mother to reunite and like be happy with her. The emphasis of the next scene is that in the night he gets sneakily taken away to go to his mother. That's like the emphasis. That's why it's like immediately shifted away
No,
from.
wait, that's not it. I think you're giving it. I think that's just. I mean, because the mom does she even know that he's there yet?
Yeah, she's been told by the dude, the one
I
dude.
mean, she knows that that's his kid, but like, I mean, I don't think like she's gotten to the police yet, has she?
Oh, she has. That's why she's like rolling up to the courthouse. That's why it's like dawn, and then she shows up at the courthouse, and then she's like walks in, like at the courthouse, like hey, and gives him a hug, and it's like that's when the music gets all happy, is when she gives him a hug.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, Dirk, but I think it's okay. I'm checking right now, so stall for me. But I
But yeah,
don't.
she rolls up to the guy, the doctor, the county doctor or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, I just told off this dude because he like took this kid and like not their father, so I got the social workers." Like, oh no, and then like he hands her the note and is like, "Yeah, the look at this. He was an orphan, the fucking kid, and got to get to his other parents." And like, "Oh no, this is my kid." Like, well, I got the people looking for him. Uh, and then that's why she has the newsletter thing out for missing child.
Okay, so we see the note. We see her see the note, and it cuts immediately to the. Wait. Let me make sure. Yeah, so we see her like have the realization, right? And then it cuts immediately to the whole them going to the hotel scene.
Yeah.
Um,
And then it has
and
the reward thing in the newspaper. Well, that's after.
yeah, but this is from the chief of police. It's not. there's nothing in it that indicates that she knows.
Of
I mean,
course,
because the police were gonna take him anyways, though, because it's not his kid.
of course she knows. She shows up at the courthouse for the kid.
Yeah, because she sees the note too. I assume in the newspaper or
Yeah,
something.
but she sees the note and then she tells the police, "Hey, this is my kid," and that's why they notify her. And she comes in the morning to get the kid.
I suppose agree that that's the emphasis of the scene. I mean, because even like as he's taking the kid away, it's interspersed with Chaplin looking for him, and as the kid gets to the courthouse, it's interspersed with Chaplin looking for him until she eventually gets to the courthouse. I
Yeah,
don't
and then
think
that's
that
why
like
there's the happy music.
sure, but my point is, I think we're deprived of this sad moment of him like no longer having his kid.
Because there's already been a sad moment of him not having his kid.
Yes, but you see like how that sad moment is now like unsatisfying because like that sad moment's not completely complete either because he ends up finding the kid, right?
No,
But then like
it
he
is
loses the kid
complete.
again, and like this one's no, because this is like more of a loss, but it's less of a sad moment.
I think, Matthew, the thing is that like you could, yeah, I'm sure you could definitely like rearrange some things to make this like more of like a heart wrencher, but like I don't think that's really the point. Like you want to have a little bit of drama and you want to have a sad scene or two, which we got, but I ultimately don't think this is like he's not trying to destroy us here. Like we don't want to be like kept in limbo and have that much of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
I think is
the
kind
point
of
of
the point.
this is to the reuniting of family is this scene. The previous scene is like the drama. This is the reuniting of the family.
But no, but that's like not. That's so. No, that's not genuine though, because like
That is genuine.
it's no, because while he's taking him away, Chaplin's looking for him. The point of that scene is that Chaplin is looking for his kid still. Like
No, there can
Before-
be multiple
yes.
points. Yeah, there can be.
yes, so I'm saying one of the points. Obviously, this family is also being reunited, but also one of the points is that Chaplin's looking for the kid.
Yeah, and
That
he's still
Chaplin's
looking
now
at-
away from the kid.
Yes, and he's still looking for the kid. See, that's like plot A and plot B. Plot A, he's still looking for the kid. Plot B, the family's reunited. As plot B,
Still looking for the kid should feel more powerful.
no, that's the point. And then he goes into dreamland because he's been like looking for the kid all night, and then he like reunited in his dreams with the kid, and he's like so happy, like, and they have like angel wings and everything's so happy. Then everything turns to shit. Obviously, trouble begins. Is what it is. The caption says, and that's the point of the
That's a
plot.
segue. That dream sequence was really good.
Yeah, as a segue, that dream sequence was really good, and that's plot A. That's the point of plot A. So the point of that scene, where he's like looking for the kid, even at through the courthouse scene, is that's establishing that he's been doing this all night. That's why
Yes,
he's
but I'm saying,
tired
like,
and
there
he starts
I feel like
hallucinating.
there should be more of an emotional payoff for that. That's
There
all I'm
is.
saying.
The
There's
payoff.
not what's the emotional
the
payoff.
the emotional payoff is at the very end when he is reunited with the kid. That's the
Yes, but the reuniting doesn't feel good if we never see him sad.
yeah, we do.
When?
We already
That's what
saw
I'm
him
asking.
sad plenty.
Yeah, we
When?
literally.
I am asking you, when do we see him sad?
Like when he like the kid gets taken, he's like desperately looking all around.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm saying that sadness is like not nearly like as powerful as like, it could be.
But that's my point. Is he doesn't want to make this sadness as he doesn't want to maximize the sadness. He's not. That's like not the point.
yeah.
Like,
It's
why?
a balance.
Why? Why is he not want to maximize the sadness?
because it's not that sad of a movie.
But like maximizing the sadness, like maximizes the happiness at the end too. So it actually makes you happier in the end.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to make this like a super like heavy.
But why?
emotional
I'm asking you
roller
why.
coaster.
Why not making it? Why not make it that? It's not like that. Have you like give him a bit more time to like actually act that out? I don't understand like
Because
why
it-
not make it more
well,
roller
the
coaster.
tramp-
Because it's
is
a
like-
comedy primarily.
Yeah, the
So
tramp is
comedies can have drama.
like
We just
yeah.
Yes,
and
I
they
know.
do.
I'm just
A lot
saying
of
it's an
drama.
intentional thing. Like I
Yeah.
don't think it makes like you can say it like doesn't fit your taste, but it's definitely an intentional thing.
I know,
that
but
he
I'm
doesn't
asking,
want-
what is the purpose of that intentional thing besides like
Because-
Chaplin's like dramatic acting is like questionable?
No, it's because the
It
point
is
of it
questionable.
is that
because it's a deliberate choice to make this movie more of an even keel and not a huge emotional roller coaster.
I
Even
understand
if-
the word thing.
yeah.
What is the purpose of this choice? What does it accomplish?
Because he
should- it
doesn't
accom-
want to make it an emotional roller coaster. That's not what he wants to do. That's not the
And-
kind of movie it is.
Okay, but why does he not want to do that? That's what I'm asking. Like,
because that's an artistic choice.
and also
well,
because
what's it
like that's what
hurting? What's it preventing if he makes it more of a beat? Gives it more of a beat.
because
than
that
gives it more-
detracts from like the character of the tramp. The tramp is like supposed to be the good-natured character, is like kind of childlike and bumbling, and is like kind of just has to keep on going.
Yeah, and like fine with that. I don't think that's like what people wanted to see. Like I don't think that's the kind of movie he wanted to make. I don't think that's the kind of movie people wanted to see. It's like some sort of sad, heart wrenching, up and down tale. They just want to
But it's
watch.
not like heart wrenching if you give him a bit more time, because like you said, it's not like we haven't seen him sad at all,
But we've
right?
already been in this like maybe not like heart wrenching, but we've already been in kind of like an emotional limbo for a while. Like the kid's already been missing. We've already been in kind of like a weird emotional state, and I think it definitely fits the timing of the movie to like end it and like get back to something happy. Like we don't want to like we're already in a place of like slightly negative emotions. We don't want to like you only get all the way down to like way negative before coming back. Like I don't
Okay.
think
So I
that's
guess here's my issue, right? I'm gonna lay it out for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We have a scene that is this whole movie is mostly comedy until about 40, 35 minutes in,
Yeah.
right? Then we get the scene, which we actually haven't really talked about too much, of him actually losing the kid, right? Where and we didn't want to talk about much because it's the best scene in the film, where they're pulling him away and stuff. You get the great montage sequence of the back and forth between him and the kid both being sad, right? Of them like having to hold Chaplin back. He's like flailing his arms and the kid crying in the truck. That's great. That's a really powerful side beat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had an action-packed sequence where we basically forget that we're supposed to be sad because like you kind of see where this is going for the most part. Because like you said, Derek, it is a tramp and he does kind of stumble his way into like victory most of the time. He gets the kid, so we have happy beat, right? Hotel, super happy beat, right?
wait, no way.
That's not
No,
happy.
the beginning of the hotel is super happy. What are you talking about?
No, because they've been kicked out of their home. They're not living at home where they should be. They're like in some weird limbo. That's what I meant by limbo. They're like in a limbo.
That's why the music is
They're
like
so happy together.
no, they're not though. Well,
Yeah, true,
they
but
are.
they're having to hide.
They're happy but they're having to hide, and like obviously the overtone is the music, which is like in the middle between
No,
like
you can't judge by the music because this film was made without music.
and then like the idea is like
But I'm saying you can't judge by the music, Derek. You understand what I'm saying? Because the music is not part of the film.
I'd say it's still part of the film.
No, but because this is just
because this music
video that
is
we're
in the
watching.
re-release. What we're watching is the re-release of the 1973 re-release, and in the 1971 re-release, this was in the movie.
I guess, but I just feel like Chaplin is like in no way like probably a part of that.
No,
you know what I
Chaplin
mean?
literally handcrafted the 1971 re-release. I looked this up, and he edited the film and everything in 1971 re-release.
Okay, sure. So let's continue.
So the music
okay,
and
so-
everything is on him. So yes.
Sure, but I'm just like as you watch a scene, right? Like I just feel like maybe it's not like the happiest moment, but like okay, sure they're happy, and then even more say it's limbo, right? So we have, actually I should go back a tiny bit. So he gets it, and then we get a super quick shot of mother, and he's like, oh man, this is gonna like be happy. So you know this is ending happily with the mother getting reunited with the kid, right? And we have Chaplin, and then I think at this point in the movie, this is where the film loses momentum. Where yes, like where Chaplin loses the kid again, and then we don't get sadness, but like so we don't get Chaplin's own personal sadness, and we're also like we just get the happiness from the mother, right? Now this movie is like happy, but like also kind of in limbo for Chaplin, right? But then this whole thing's like played out for this, which is I do think a good scene, the dream sequence, but also like admittedly like a very silly scene, right? At the end of the day, where like kind of everything that's happening is kind of put into this whole silly sort of I don't even know the word I'm looking for, like a silly kind of tone, right? Super silly tone. So then nothing has actually like I don't want to say like it's not that we haven't been taken on a roller coaster. I don't care about that, but just like the stakes themselves are in limbo. It's like why are we even watching this movie anymore, right? It seems like everything's been resolved.
No, because he's still looking. That's the point. That's the point of plot A at that point, is that he's still looking. He just fell asleep.
This is exactly my point, though. Is because I don't think that looking is very powerful. Like, yes, we mentioned the fact that he's still looking because he like thinks that he's lost his kid, right? But it's not that he's still looking. As you stated, the emphasis isn't on the fact that he's like emotionally sad because he's lost the kid, because it makes us feel that it's less about the fact that he needs this emotional attachment to the kid, and more about the fact that like he is like has responsibility as a parent to like not lose his kid, right?
Yeah,
There's no like emotion there.
No, there's emotion. He's a forlorn parent that lost his kid, and like the kid is with his mom now. That's like
Yes.
the end of that plot. The
So
end of
that
the Tramp's
positive
plot.
motion.
The end of Tramp's plot is still ongoing. He's still looking for the kid, and then the finality of his storyline is being reunited with the kid and the mom.
Yes, but so we know the mom is going to show him the kid, right? So that suspense isn't there for us.
Well, we don't know that until
How do we not know that?
Because
it's like,
until
it seems
he
pretty
gets
obvious.
until he gets in the car with the police officer and he shows up at the house, we don't know.
But the mom likes Chaplin, or the Tramp. They have a good rapport. Like, you
So
know,
that
like,
doesn't mean that she's gonna be like, "Yo, come on over and like live with me and this kid."
I mean, maybe it's not even that, but maybe we know that he's going to reunite the kid in some manner, right? That's my point. So it no longer becomes with the emotion behind it. So then it's kind of like, why are we watching the movie anymore? And sure, there's like cool silly scene, but that scene almost attracts even more. It's like really like we're spending 5 minutes on this. Like, why is this movie still going on?
Because it's fun, if nothing else. Because the whole scene is hilarious, and then until he gets like shot of the air, then it's sad again, and then it like transitions to him getting like picked up in real life, which was really cool.
That's fun. Yeah, that's all funny too. I agree. I'm not criticizing the scene itself. I'm criticizing its place in the movie and the scenes that surround it, because I think it really takes away a lot.
I don't think it takes away from anything, because at this point, it's at this level of him looking at for the kid, and it's continuing through the scene. Because in the scene, he's reunited, and he thinks it. I guess maybe in the dream state that he's in, that he's reunited with the kid. That's why it's happy. Until
yes,
he
but the
wakes
point
up.
is, this is neither emotionally driven nor narratively driven, right? So the audience has no stake in this movie anymore, because we know that he will be reunited by the fact that, like, which is why we have this 10 random minutes of her walking through the neighborhood, always interacting with Chaplin. I mean, sure, that also adds some suspense, which is really intelligent, but also the fact that, like, we know they're going to be reunited. He is going to see this kid. That's almost a foregone conclusion. Like, I don't think just because it's like an old antique movie, you can like doesn't like its predictability isn't a factor, right? Because I'm sure we're talking about a lot of movies, like predictability is something that we talk about, I don't think we have any, and predictability isn't bad if we have an emotional stake in it, but we have no emotional stake in either. To this point, the fifth of the movie is still left. I have no emotional stake left.
Personally, I was looking for him to be reunited with the kid, so I still had a stake in it.
Yes,
So,
but my point is that reuniting is not as powerful anymore because it wasn't as sad when he lost the kid.
and my disagreement is that it was plenty sad.
But no, you just said it wasn't though.
I said it was plenty sad, not as sad as the first scene.
You did not say it was.
I said my words
point
was.
is-
Oh my
the point is
lord!
emphasis
This
is
is
the happiness.
Yeah, boys.
My point was that the emphasis was different, not that it wasn't sad.
The emphasis was on the happiness.
The emphasis was on the happiness of the kid, but that was the B plot. The A plot is still the confusion and the looking for the kid, which is.
But you said
sad.
we had a whole like argument, right? You said the emphasis of the scene is on the sadness of the kid.
The emphasis, yes,
or the happiness of the kid.
but it ends. The emphasis of that ends when the mom and the kid are reunited, and then it continues for the tramp for the rest of the
my
movie.
point is that sadness is not very well conveyed. But okay, let's move on because Caleb's getting annoyed.
All right, and then going back some, the kids fighting scene was hilarious.
Oh, that's a great scene.
That was just so great. And like
that stuffed shirt guy, like the big bully.
God.
Oh my god, that was like hilarious. He's a goon.
Yeah, he was such a goon in like such a cartoonish way. Like and it was hilarious because when he comes in, he's like, "I'm gonna fight you if he wins." It's like he immediately like, or the tramp like immediately rigs the match and like steps on the kid and is like, "Yay, yay! You don't have to beat me up now." And then the guy starts like chasing him around, and then the crowd like moves like to the opposite side and like moves with them as they move around the alleyway. Is like hilarious.
Yeah, I've noticed they really like matching the tramp with like an equally cartoonish villain, and like this guy is just like so ridiculous. He's like so puffed up, and he's like looks like like Gaston or something. He's just great.
That whole everything about that scene, and then like how the kid when the second round of the boxing match is about to start, Tramp puts him in the corner of the window, in the windowsill,
Oh yeah,
the corner of a
getting him
boxing
ready.
ring,
He
and
spits on him whenever
yeah,
he's sitting on the person behind him.
yeah, and he's like, and then he like mimes to hit the other kid in the stomach, and then like kick him in the butt. It's like,
Well, also, I think the best part, once again, his punchlines are like very hard to like deny, like amazing, right?
yeah,
Where you have like the guy tells the champ, you know, like if he wins, like we alluded to the beginning of the podcast, bringing it all the way back around, that if he wins, he's gonna beat him up. He's gonna beat the champ up, and so the champ's trying to get his kid to lose, and so he like holds the other kid's arm up, and then like, oh, okay, it's all gonna be good for him, and then the kid stands up and punches the boy he's fighting in the face,
yeah.
knocks him down. That's really well done. You guys want to talk about the dream scene?
Yeah, sure. I think that one was pretty interesting as well because the idea is like the angels are like the people that are nice to the tramp, and like the devils are like the cops, which I thought, or like not the cops, but like the cops actually, yeah. So it was like and so it's like the people who are like, hey, don't worry about it. Get with this girl. Is like all of a sudden like the goon or whatever like shows up. And he's like, I'm gonna fight you in the same alley where I fought you earlier. He's like, oh no, and then he starts trying to run away. And then the police officers come and breaks up the fight. The one from earlier too. The tramp tries to fly away, and the police officer like shoots him down. Like you can see the crowd look up to where the tramp tries to fly away, which was really cool. And the cop like shoots up and like falls down right on the stoop. And then the cop in real life walks over, picks him up, and as soon as he picks him up, we transition from real life. But before then, like it's just like the kid like hovering over him, like hugging him in the like dream world, and then like the kid fades away.
Yeah, that's great.
Did you all notice the little? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Where you go?
Well, I was just gonna say like the kind of dichotomy they had between like sin and innocence, and how the movie opens up talking about her sin, and then the very ending panel is innocence prevails. So that's kind of like
that is really good
sort of thematic thing they have going on.
Yeah, I think that's also in the Dreamland because like
obviously it's heaven.
It's heaven until like jealousy comes in, or like which is like and like the devil's like in the background like
Yeah, I just love like all like the little parts of the heaven scene, like the world they create. I love him like casually like playing the harp, like it's something like he has to do, you know?
Yeah.
In the background, I think that's really funny. And then the angel dog.
That was hilarious.
That scene, and then of course like the chase scene with the cop in the heaven part, where he's like jumping over the cop. I wonder like how he did that. That's actually really cool. That time, I don't know like how exactly that was done, but I liked it.
Yeah, it was such a good time. And then it's like sad, as soon as he gets shot down, it's like womp womp. It was like sad time. It's like then he gets ripped up off the ground by the cop. It's like and like transitions into the reality, which I thought was really cool.
Y'all think y'all are ready to vote?
I am ready to vote. So let's first talk about best quote. But you gotta be real, guys. One of our movies didn't have any quotes.
Yeah.
The other one, I felt like a lot of great aspects of it. Quotes weren't the best.
Yeah. The only one I had one, and it was Giovanni screaming out, "He threw Brother Pig to the ground!"
Dude, that's literally the one I was gonna do. That's the only one I have.
I don't know. That was like it was just so funny.
Yeah, I think it's so great.
So that's all I had.
I also have, I guess since you took that one, I actually do it on one more. It looks like, brothers, beware of wasting the precious gift of time. I don't know. The Brother Pig one's the best one. Caleb,
I literally had no quotes.
Okay, so 3 Brother Pigs.
Okay.
Oh,
I guess that's not really a quote per se, but in the little motel thing, there's a sign that says management not responsible for stolen goods that
Oh
we see in the
yeah,
beginning and then at the end.
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, best scene.
This is gonna be tough. Ooh, that's tough. Probably the fight scene in the kid. That one killed me. I was dead. There's a lot of other good ones though.
I'm definitely going with the leper scene in Flowers of St. Francis. I think that was beautiful.
I'd have to say probably the kind of final scene of Flowers of St. Francis where they're spinning around.
It's a great scene too. All three great scenes. Okay, best performance.
Probably Chaplin, obviously.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin. Favorite character?
The Tramp, obviously.
I don't say obviously. I'm gonna go with Giovanni. Literally having dying the whole time.
Yeah, it's a close tie between either him or the bully dude.
That bully is really funny.
I don't know. They're pretty close.
Okay, so we'll start with Derek. Derek, what movie you voting for?
I'm voting for the kid. It was
Derek
a,
votes for the kid.
It was a great time. I had a
It was a
great
great
time.
movie.
I would have to vote.
Wait, I'm gonna go next
Oh,
because I just want to make sure that you maximum suspense because I am voting for Flowers of St. Francis.
good.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that, like I said, it was like both like dramatic and funny in this way that I hadn't really seen before. And I really ranged everything from like a Monty Python scene to like some like the most real, like just great cinema ever. So Caleb.
Yeah, they're really taking me down to the wire. I still don't even know if I know which one, but I think I have to lean towards Flowers of St. Francis. Sorry, Derek, I know I'm doing you dirty. They're both really, really good movies. Flowers of St. Francis had maybe a little bit more to dig into, kind of hit you on more layers.
Matthew's 100% pick rate, still going strong.
I can't believe y'all like Sour Flowers more than the kid.
Okay, this is not that unbelievable. They're both great movies, Derek. We don't even dislike the kid, but
Just sad.
What are our
Okay.
movies for next week?
Our movies for next week, Caleb, great question, are The Woman Next Door by Francois Truffaut and The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes by Billy Wilder.
Man, we're finally getting to round 2. I'm excited.
Not quite. Well,
Oh,
I mean,
really?
we're on round 1.5 still. 3 more movies in round 1.5.
Oh, I didn't realize that we're doing. Wait, 3 more rounds in round 1, or 3 more shows in round 1.5?
3 more movies, yeah.
Wait, 3 more movies? How are we doing 3
Or
movies?
3 more rounds. Yeah, 3 more rounds.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I see.
Cool.
But what I can do is I can announce our next one, which is going to be, or I can announce, or Roberto Rosselini is obviously moving on, and he's going up against David Lynch. So it's going to be David Lynch's Lost Highway versus Roberto Rossellini's Stalling. Ooh, Germany Year Zero. So, I mean, on the offense that Rossellini makes it, the next 3 are, what are they called? It's like a name for them. The Italian trilogy. That's definitely 1,000% not right. You guys know what I'm talking about? No one? War trilogy. So the first was 3 war films, and it's literally all 3 in a row. It's Germany Year Zero, number 4, Paisan, number 3, and Rome Open City, number 2. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Well, technically, it's the final film, so we're doing it in reverse order.
What do you mean?
Germany Year Zero is the final.
Yeah. And I think Paisan's, so doing it exactly in reverse order. You're right. But yeah, I just meant that it's cool that like all 3 are the next 3. But yeah. So next time we are going to be watching Truffaut versus Billy Wilder, each other's 6 best movies. Truffaut's The Woman Next Door versus Wilder's The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. I'm Matthew Moore. On behalf of my co-host Caleb Ferguson and Derek Schwinsky, have a great winter, and remember, watch more movies.